What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews. 5-0 sweep on our last video. We've only got a 3-game slate today, and I've got 3 bets that I'm going to share with you. Now, if that sounds interesting, let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.
You heard that right, a 5-0 sweep on our last video. Let's talk about it. I had a pretty good day myself, but the 5 winners that we went through in that last video: Gogo Batase, over 8.5 rebounds. Cash, Isaiah Hartenstein, over 21.5 points and rebounds. We got there. Jason Tatum, over 8.5 boards. That was pretty easy. We also hit on Zubac over his PRA. Even though that line moved, he still cashed that extended line anyway. We cashed in on Karl-Anthony Towns over his rebounds, Michael Beasley over his points. Speaking of Michael Beasley over his points, I want to give a shout out to this guy or girl, whoever they may be. Another example of somebody after the first quarter jumping in the comment section, telling me the picks are rubbish. Got to eat your words sometimes. Michael Beasley covers 17.5 points easy, scoring 26 points. Easy Beasley, baby. Now, overall, I didn't sweep the whole day. Don't get me wrong. I put a lot of bets down. I had a lot of losers out there. But VIP, 14.3 units up. Absolutely killed it today. We were close to getting 50 to 60 units profit, but we got hooked on a couple of plays. But VIP, 50 units of profit in December alone, 72 units of profit this NBA season. The goal for the season was 100 units, but I'll probably have to change that once we get there. Overall, went 9-5 on my straight bets, so made a little bit of profit there. Cashed a couple of value players. Karl-Anthony Towns, plus 450. Zubac at plus 625. I had a doubles combo with Cat and Zoo in there. We got 8.5 units. I'll show you a picture of that. And we also hit a value play on Suggs. This was a Zubac one, 15 points, 3 assists, 10 boards, $50 in a 362. Karl-Anthony Towns, over in points, over in rebounds, over in assists. This was pretty much done by halftime, $50 in a 275. And Jalen Suggs, under in points, under in assists, $50 in a 362. Now, this was a really lucky bet because Jalen Suggs was playing very well. Went in at halftime, apparently with an injury, and never came back out on the court. So this makes up for all the times where you lose because of injury, right? So you got to take the good and the bad. That's why I don't get too upset when the players I bet on get injured, because sometimes it can work in your favor. So we got lucky with that one. And this is the doubles combo. So I had a lot of the value plays that I was running, put them in a doubles combo, which means you only need to hit 2 of them. For those of you guys in the US, that's called a round robin. Round robin, these bad boys turn $150 into $996. So to celebrate, running a 50% discount, but that's what I sent to VIP, 14.3 units, 50% discount. Use the code CAT when you sign up to VIP. That'll give you your first 30 days with a discount. There's only 20 uses here. Karl-Anthony Towns had 20 rebounds today, so I'm limited this to only 20 redemptions. So go ahead and check that out. The link for that's in the video description below. But if you just want to trial VIP, then sign up to Rebet with the code DAFT, make a $10 deposit, and email me. Send me a screenshot. I'll give you a month of my VIP picks for free. You'll also get entry into a giveaway. Once we hit 100 referrals, $100 US going out to 5 people. We only need 14 more for this thing to go off. Pretty confident we can get this done before Christmas. So go ahead, sign up to Rebet, make a $10 deposit, send me the screenshot. Not screenshot. Don't send me the screenshot. And I'll get you into VIP for a month, and you're going to the draw to win this money. Now, if you think about it, there's been like 80-something people who have taken advantage of this in the last 3 weeks throughout December. Those people, if they followed my bets correctly, they'd be up 50 units already, and they didn't have to pay me a cent. So go ahead and check out Rebet. The link for that's in the video description below. Now let's talk about today's games. Let's go. So jumping into the props madness, this is the best tool you're going to find. Check it out. 7-day free trial on the video description below. Plus, you'll get 25% off if you use the code DAFT when you do happen to sign up. Now, I've only got a 3-game slate here, which usually means it's pretty easy to do my research on. Not going to lie to you. Found it difficult as hell. Don't love all the games that are on here today. So it was only managed to come up with 3 picks, and it took me quite a lot of time. Firstly, on this Hornets 76ers game, I've got no bets on that. Joel Embiid's a game time decision. Brandon Miller's a game time decision. Both of those guys can swing the lines and the outcomes for the players on both teams. So I'm going to wait, see what the lineups look like. Might get something on before the games start. Then we got the Bucks versus the Cavs, also a somewhat difficult one to cap. This Bucks team is a lot better than the advanced numbers tell us, because over the last couple of weeks they've been balling. They figured out how to play basketball again, and this Cavs team's been pretty elite all year. But the only bet that I've got down for this particular game is on Giannis. And for Giannis Antetokounmpo, we're looking at his rebounds plus assists over 18.5. Yeah, that's a high ass number. Now, Giannis has only covered this line in 9 out of 24 games this season. So if you're just betting on hit rate, you're probably not even going to see this bet. But I like it for a few reasons. The first one, it helps that he's hit this against the Cavs in 4 consecutive games. So played them once this year, had 25 rebounds and assists. 16 rebounds, 9 assists in that one. And if we look at last season's head-to-head numbers in 3 games, 21, 28, and 20. So covering this 18.5 rebounds and assists in 4 consecutive games against the Cavs, that always helps. This Cavs team hasn't changed their roster very much year on year. Their offense is a lot better, I would say, but at the same time, very similar lineups that Giannis is going to have to face. Another big call out here is no Dame Lillard in this game. Now, Giannis only played a couple of games without Dame this season. He's covered this line in 2 out of 3, averaging at 19.7 rebounds and assists. So a very small sample size there. Now, the one thing I do like about this bet here for Giannis is the assist play. If you look at his assist numbers, the line's at 7.5. He's only hit that in 1 game without Dame. But as of late, Giannis been diamond up, and I think it really depends on the matchup. Some teams will not let Giannis, but they don't want to open up the assist opportunities for him. They'll say, if you're going to beat us, you beat us by yourself. Some teams say, we're not going to let you beat us today. You got to force everyone else to. And I think the Cavs are going to do that. They're going to wall off. They've got some size. They're going to sell out. They're going to do what they can to stop Giannis from scoring. And that naturally is going to open up a lot more assist opportunities around the perimeter. So I think Giannis can get really close to this assist line. The 7.5 seems high, but I honestly think it's the right line to be set. Where the big advantage is probably in the rebound department. And Giannis has been covering his rebound line very consistently, 12 out of 24 games this season. He did have 16 rebounds against the Cavs the last time they played each other earlier this season from 26 rebound chances. And the reason why this works, in my opinion, is the Cavaliers, they play a lot of Jarrett Allen at the top of the key. And it's not necessarily in pick and roll action. They actually run a lot of handoffs, meaning they pass it to Jarrett Allen, and they tend to run around him a lot, which is going to bring Brook Lopez out of the paint. It's all done by design. Brook Lopez will do his best to retreat. He'll contest every single shot around the rim, which means someone like Giannis is going to have to be there to pick up the boards. Now, Giannis most likely picks up Evan Mobley for a lot of the parts of this game. Evan Mobley sitting in the dunker, sitting in the corner, working on his spot-up game. When he does have the ball, he's kind of dribbling from the perimeter. He's not doing too much with it. So Giannis, I think he could easily find some uncontested rebounds here. Brook Lopez is going to have his hands full dealing with Jarrett Allen. So I do like Giannis to get some boards in a very big and important game. His rebound numbers on the season don't look great, but I really do think it's the matchup. Who is he playing? And will he get there? One thing I've noticed with Giannis is when he versus a lot of shit teams, he kind of doesn't do too much at all in the rebound department. But in these big games, these important games, Giannis tends to lift in his rebounds. If there was a filter where I could filter it by like standings, you'll probably be able to see it. But I think Giannis in a big game gets a lot of rebounds, gets a lot of assists, does everything, drives the bus, washes the jerseys at the end, does the massage before it. He does it all today. I think we could see Giannis floating with a triple-double in this one. But my next 2 bets are in that very last game. It's the Oklahoma City versus the Miami Heat. Now, I don't necessarily like betting on games where the Miami Heat play. They're good defensively. You don't know who's going to do what, so it can be a little bit tricky. So I do have some opinions on what happens in this game for the Heat team, which I'll share with you after I go through the 2 bets, because the 2 bets I have are on the OKC Thunder players. The first one, we've just got to go with Old Faithful here. It's Isaiah Hartenstein. And until they move this line, I think I'm just going to keep taking it. Looking at his points and rebounds, over 22.5. We took that very same bet against the Orlando Magic, which cashed for us in a somewhat difficult matchup too. But Isaiah Hartenstein is over this line in 10 out of 12 games this season, averaging 25 points and rebounds per game, up against Miami Heat. And the matchup, honestly, isn't too bad. If I think about how Isaiah Hartenstein scores, doing a lot of work in the paint. You can see it here, 98% of his points are within the paint. This Miami Heat team, 15th in terms of points in the paint allowed, which means they're average. Now, Isaiah Hartenstein has been able to cover this line with much more difficult matchups. Orlando, second fewest points in the paint allowed, scored 12 points there. The Bucks, Fifth fewest points in the paint allowed. He scored 16 points there. Against Golden State, fourth fewest points allowed. He scores 14. The Kings, third fewest points allowed. He scored 19. So doesn't matter how difficult the matchup could be there for Isaiah Hartenstein. I think he still get the buckets. If you can't get the points plus rebounds, you can go with either one, to be honest. I like them both, his points and his rebounds prop, which is why I'm playing it. Now, if we talk about rebounding, the Miami Heat, not a great rebounding team. They play at a very slow pace, but they actually allow the fifth most rebounds in the league. Whereas a lot of the other teams that allow a ton of rebounds, it's usually because they play really quick. This Miami Heat team plays slow and they allow a ton of rebounds. They're giving up a lot of size, a bit of athleticism, so it does make sense. I think Isaiah Hartenstein can get a lot of easy rebounds here. Miami, they're not crashing the offensive glass too hard, so Isaiah Hartenstein, provided Bam's not super aggressive, Hartenstein should be able to get a lot of rebounds in this one. So that's the second bet that I've got for you guys. Now, my next one is on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and you've got to apply some parlay science, I'd say. So you're not going to get this on DFS apps. This is very specific to sports betting. I use Bet365 for this, but if you can get alternate lines in your book, I think this is a good look. What I'm taking is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander under 38.5 points, and for him to get 5+ assists. So those are the two players. I'm getting this for like -120, I believe. So it's a pretty decent look. Now let's talk about it. First, in terms of scoring, I didn't want to take the under 29.5, although that's the way that I'd be leaning. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's got a pretty his floor and his ceiling when it comes to scoring points. They're pretty much close together. Like you can pretty much lock him in for 25 to 35 points 90% of the time. He's always going to be within that range. He's not like a Luka Doncic who might give you 21 night, 45 the next, 30. Like he's going to be a wide gap between his floor and ceiling. Whereas SGA, he's steady, man. He's consistent as hell. If you like bitch-ass parlays, you're probably like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now, I think he scores between 25 and 32 points, I'd say. So the risk of him going over his line, it does scare me a little bit. But the one thing I like about this under is not only the range that he typically scores in, but this Miami Heat team, how they play defense. The Miami Heat don't have too many defenders who can hang with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Like, who are you going to put on him? A Haywood Highsmith, perhaps? Like, there's no one who can. I don't think Jimmy's going to spend too much time on him. I think they're just going to play good team defense. They're going to double him whenever he looks to make a move. They're going to force the ball out of his hand. So I think it impacts his ability to score, but I also think it helps in his assists. I did consider just taking the over 5.5 assists. Not going to lie to you. He doesn't hit that at the best rate. It's going to be a real sweaty play, in my opinion, because SGA gets a lot of hockey assists, especially when teams are forcing the ball out of his hand. He's not necessarily looking to create for others. So that could be a frustrating play. So in a way, this is a bitch-ass parlay for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So under 38.5 points, 5+ assists. Depending on what your sportsbook is, you could modify that however you like. But that's just my opinion. I think he gets between 5 and 7 assists. I also think he scores between 25 and 32 points. Deal with that as you wish. But on Bet365, they make it very easy for you to make that type of play. So that's the third play that I have on. I'm not going to go too hard today. We just had a great day. Not going to force anything. I don't love too many plays too much. So I'm just going to probably settle with a 3. But some of my thoughts on this Miami Heat team, I thought I'd give you guys some extra value whilst I can. You know what I'm all about, trying to give you guys a little something. But Miami Heat, firstly, tough-ass matchup, right? Oklahoma, pretty much the best defense you're going to find in the NBA. Their main weak point is they give up points to spot-up shooters, and they don't rebound very well. Outside of that, they're really good defensively. So I did consider an under for Bam Adebayo in points. Here's a reason why. If you just look at how Bam Adebayo performs when he versus the top 15 teams in defensive rating this season, check this out. Struggles. He averages 12.9 points per game when he's up against one of the better defensive teams. So he's a flat track bully in a way. So 12.9 points over in only 1 out of 9 games. But if you were to flip that and reverse it and look at how he performs against the bottom half of the bottom half, he averages 18 points per game against those teams that don't play very well on the defensive end. So Bam Adebayo, bit of a bully there. So I do like his under in a very difficult matchup. He could get very close to it, but that's definitely a lean of mine. The other person I thought of was Jimmy Butler. Now, Jimmy Butler on the season is very up and down. But I knew this before even playing with the filters. When the matchup is difficult, Jimmy comes to play. Jimmy's got the similar types of trends, just the opposite way around. Check this out. Firstly, if Jimmy plays the worst teams in the league in defensive rating, he averages 18 points per game. he covers this line in 6 out of 12 games. When he versus the Kings, not the Kings, but like the better teams in defensive rating, check this out. He's over in 5 out of 7 games, averaging 21.3 points per game. So Jimmy Butler performs better in these difficult matchups. Bam Adebayo goes into his shell a little bit. So it's a real interesting one. I was going to correlate that into a parlay. Couldn't necessarily find the odds and the lines that I liked for it, but those are my thoughts on this Miami Heat team. Tyler Hero doesn't necessarily change too much depending on the matchup. He's pretty steady around his line, good or bad. There was no difference. Another interesting play was Terry Rozier. Now, when he has a difficult matchup, he seems to perform well as well. Check that out. These are the tough matchups, over in 5 out of 7, averaging 13 points per game. His line's only 10. But when he sees a soft matchup, he is hitting this in 8 out of 15, averaging 11 points per game. And I think part of the reason here is your Terry Roziers, your Jimmy Butlers, even your Tyler Heroes can create their own shot. They can make some difficult shots as well, take advantage of some mismatches. Whereas Bam Adebayo, in a difficult matchup, I'd say somewhat limited. He can take advantage of the easy ones, but when he's got someone more difficult to deal with, he obviously goes into his shell. So those are my thoughts. I don't know how I'm going to play that whole Miami Heat thing yet. Haven't decided. Do I just do a Bam under, Jimmy over, and just call it a day, put half a unit on it? I might. But we'll see where I land. We'll see how I feel before the game starts. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the Miami Heat. Like I said earlier, not loving this whole set of games. Probably won't even watch it, if I'm being honest with you guys. Just check some box scores whilst I'm doing my thing. But on this Hornets and 76ers game, interesting to see who lines up, and then we can probably find some value there. I think LaMelo Ball, his line just keeps going up. His line is moving. So people are hammering his over in points. That's really interesting because I would like to wait until Brandon Miller's status is confirmed, and this is partly why. So these are the games LaMelo Ball has played with Bridges and Miller. He's only averaging 24.8 points per game, covered this in 3 out of 8. Only scored 15 the last time he played the 76ers with both of those guys in the lineup. So I'm waiting for the news for Brandon Miller. For Joel Embiid, I think if Embiid plays, Paul George, his lines will drop like crazy. But if Embiid is out, I think the over on Paul George is a good look. We've already bet Paul George against the Charlotte Hornets without Embiid in the lineup. That was easy money. He's done that 2 games against them already. So that's where my mind goes, but let's just see who plays and who doesn't. But I appreciate y'all if you made it this far in the video. If you did, please let me know in the comment section below. Like the video, help this get out to more people. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Looking to get to 20,000 subscribers. And another reminder is to jump into that Rebet giveaway. We're very close to making it happen. Only 14 more referrals required, and then we get the giveaway cooking. $100 to 5 different people. Links for everything that you need are down in the video description anyway. But I do wish you guys the best of luck. I hope we green out tomorrow, and hopefully our bets green out too. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.